Monday afternoon, and thanks for joining us on Midday Kentucky. I'm Amber Freeman here with a very special, you're going to hear why, guest. Not only a great guy, but also has his own day.
Well, you know, it must have been a slow news day last week, but very nicely, the American Heart Association arranged through the City Council to have Friday proclaimed as Keith Yarber Day of all kinds of crazy things. And it was a total surprise. Very nice gesture on their part because we had the Heart Ball, big event that happened on Friday evening.
No, this is huge, Keith. In case you didn't hear, it was Keith Yarber Day. We have Keith Yarber, who not only has his own day, also CEO of Tops Magazine here in town. First, I want to talk a little bit about the magazine.
Sure.
We have a lot going on today.
We have a lot going on, we sure do.
When I first came to Lexington, well, first of all, one of my very favorite magazines is Ocean Drive in Miami.
I've seen it.
And I even subscribed to it once I left Miami because I just thought it was gorgeous. Everything's done so beautiful. When I came here, I was like, what is this magazine? It's like its own little Miami flavor.
Yes.
Here in Lexington. Beautiful, beautiful magazine.
Well, thank you. We started it, it actually started back in 2006, 2007. Lexington didn't have its own city magazine. And the other driving force behind that was the nonprofits in this area were begging to get coverage of their events. And I was working in corporate media at the time and was having a great time, but I had an entrepreneurial spirit. I wanted to run my own company, see if I could make it. And so we started up Thompson Lexington as a website. For the first year, it was just a website. And this was back when MySpace was the big social media deal. Facebook was out there on the horizon.
Oh, yeah.
And we did a website for the first year and got Rick Dees to do our commercials and launched with a big splash. But we were a little ahead of our time. So in 2007, we debuted the magazine. And we covered all the events in the city, helped out all the nonprofits, showed up to the social events, and just kind of became the city's magazine pretty quickly. And so now we publish 20,000 copies every month. We have close to 100,000 readers.
Wow.
Every month. And it just delights me when I run into somebody and they say, love your magazine because it tells me what's going on in the city, or you made our event look so good. We just try to reflect back what's the best about Lexington in our magazine.
And you do such a great job of it. The photography in it, the articles, everything is so, so beautiful. It's
well,
like you go through, and when I first came to Lexington, I didn't know much about the city, and you could just open it up and it's right there for you.
Well, that's our slogan is who's who, what's new, what to do. And that's what we try to make the magazine is, if you're looking for something to do, we have a great calendar in the magazine, and we're highlighting all the great events that go around in the city. And we have a lot of great sponsors. Normally a magazine like ours would probably cost about $6 on the subscription stand. But because all of our great advertisers and everything, we're able to do it free. And we distribute it in all the Krogers and about 300 other locations in central Kentucky. So it's just kind of taken off, taking a life of its own.
It's beautiful. The fashion in it, all of it. I mean, it's just gorgeous. A new the February issue is about to be released.
February issue will be released this week, and we have a great interview with our new mayor.
Ah.
Yes,
see?
Linda Gordon. A lot of people, obviously she won by a big margin.
Yes.
But we have an exclusive interview with her. I think everybody will enjoy reading, getting to know the true Linda Gordon, not just the political Linda Gordon. And we followed up in our February issue. We had the top chef on there.
Yes.
Padma.
Yes.
I can't think of her name.
I can never say it correctly.
Can't say it.
Uh-oh, I just had her say it in my ear again. Lashma.
Yes.
She's gorgeous. It doesn't matter how her name's pronounced.
So that magazine flew off the shelves.
Yes.
So, but the new one will be out coming this Thursday and Friday on the shelves.
So head to Kroger, get the issue. Speaking of February, we showed you got your own day on Friday.
Yes.
Tell us about this, because it was a surprise, right?
It was a total surprise. It was set up by the American Heart Association. Kathy Ploman, a great councilwoman, set that up. And I thought I was going down to the city council meeting to accept something on behalf of the American Heart Association, because it was the Heart Ball was the following night. So I get down there, and they said on the docket that something was up next. Kathy Ploman got up, and they announced it was my day. And they gave me a plaque.
Amazing.
And Kathy's awesome, if you know Kathy. And got my picture taken with the council, and it was a special
So does that give you a little bit of entitlement? Do you have a key to the city? Do you get a special?
That fame lasted about 24 hours, and now it's over.
No, it is not. In our hearts, you still have that day.
Well, thank you.
And the next day was a big day. Tell us about the Heart Ball.
The Heart Ball is one of Central Kentucky's truly signature events. It's been going on for a number of years, and Friday night we had over 700 people there.
Wow.
Raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for the American Heart Association. We had a great new auctioneer, we had a great band, and of all things, Jeff Ruby showed up, who's opening up a new restaurant downtown Lexington, and he is a character. He got on stage and just kind of took over, and he helped us raise a lot of money that night. But all that money that we raised with the Heart Association, the other signature events that we do, Go Red for Women, the Heart Walk, a lot of that money stays right here in Central Kentucky with all the research that gets done locally. So I'm a big advocate for the Heart Association. I've had a few heart issues over the years, and they're just a wonderful organization. But the other thing I need to mention is that heart disease and stroke is the #1 killer of women in Kentucky. A lot of people think it's cancer, but it's actually heart disease. So we're trying to get that message out that if you're a female and something is not quite right, your back is hurting or something is not right, get to the doctor. We've had these stories at our Go Red for Women, and we've actually saved lives. People have heard other women's stories, and they say, you know what, that sounds like me. And they've called the doctor just in time.
The community support behind that, we're going to talk to the American Heart Association later in the show. But what the community is doing and the money that's being raised, it's so, so, so important. But you want to know what else is important? We talked about Jeff Ruby being a character. Somebody had their own throne Friday night.
Oh, no.
I think we have a little bit of video from the event. Do we have that?
Come on, Kristen, it's Keith's big night, the Heart Ball.
I know, Danielle, we just got the last table signed for the ball tonight.
I'm coming. To think that his whole career at top started in the American Heart Association's conference room 13 years ago. I mean,
You're right.
Talk about full circle. I mean, it's crazy.
That is awesome. Let me try that one on.
Okay.
All right, Dee, here we are. It's Keith's big night. Nobody deserves it more than he does.
Truly.
Double bypass surgery at 44, a diagnosis of sarcoidosis.
What does that even mean?
A pacemaker put in only to have it replaced by a defibrillator just a couple years ago.
I know, isn't that crazy? Well, also, we're so fortunate that he's actually here tonight because last Monday, he had 90% blockage in one of his arteries. Had to have a stent placed.
The defibrillator shocked him 3 times.
3
in
times!
4 minutes.
I wonder what that feels like.
Let's do this. We love that man.
Let's do it.
There you go.
Yeah, how about that?
They did a great job putting
Well,
that
that was my
together.
staff members that put that together. Total surprise as well. They showed it at the Heart Ball. I had no idea. They really kept me in the dark this year because I didn't know any of the programming of the Heart Ball. So got to see that for the first time.
I mean, let's talk serious. How's it feel to have your own day and your own throne? And look at that, you have your own car key.
I got to tell you, it's humbling. It's very humbling, and it's a little embarrassing. I am not used to this much attention all at once. And the reason I agreed to all this was really to help the Heart Association.
Yes.
That's the only reason I wanted to do this. If my story, and there's a lot of stories like mine out there, if it would help somebody else go, you know what, I haven't been feeling good, or if he can make it, maybe I can make it. But I just want people, men and women, to call their doctor, get a checkup, go in and get treadmill stress tests. That's where they found some of my issues. And if you catch it early, chances are they're going to be able to patch you up. 2 weeks ago, I was in the ER. I had my heart rate was up towards 270, which is not good. And they found a blocked artery. I was in the hospital for 4 days and got out of the hospital. And I have been feeling great ever since then. And I think I was telling you, I was able to get outside and walk 5 miles this weekend.
Yeah.
Just a few days after all that. And get a tan after all that.
Well, I can tell you, Keith is a very, very, very modest and humble person, but I've known you since my time here in Lexington. You've been a very dear friend, and he is so, so, so well deserving of every honor that's been bestowed on you. I didn't even know all of this stuff was going on. You're the most positive, upbeat person, and what you're doing and setting an example for so many people out there, we appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much. I just trying to help, and I didn't tell many people about what was going on last year because I really didn't know what was happening. But again, if my story can inspire somebody to call their doctor, then it's been all worthwhile.
I can guarantee. I'm honored to be able to sit next to you,
Oh,
so thank you
no.
for that.
No.
How about we jump into some
Yeah.
some other news?
Enough about me. Let's talk about me some more. Okay.
Let's just keep talking about
Yeah,
Keith. Well, we
let's
could
not do
all
that.
day. Well, you do know fashion. And
Oh
you,
yes,
you
I
know,
am Mr. Fashion. Take a look. I mean, what else do you need?
You do. Your magazine. You also know people. How do you feel about social media?
How do I feel about social media? Well, I tell you how I really feel about social media. I think it's one of the greatest inventions and greatest divisive inventions of all time.
Okay.
So the internet and social media was supposed to bring us all together, and it has in some very positive ways. But it also has given a microphone. So if you hear a lot of negative stuff on social
Sure.
media, and then you hear about these girls being bullied and those kind of things. So I think social media is fantastic in a lot of ways, and we cannot live without it anymore.
No, we cannot.
We cannot live without it. But like anything else that's big and part of your daily lives, some people are using it to not do good things. And if you think about our political discourse, people that are on Facebook are like, if you don't agree with me, unfriend me.
Right.
Get off Facebook or get off my social media. So on one hand, I think it has helped bring us all together, but there's been a lot of misinformation out there, so I can really argue both sides of the coins. But doesn't matter, it's going to be here to stay for a very long time, and
Deal
we just
with
got to
it.
figure out how to deal with it better.
Okay, well, I'm going to lighten things up with social media because
Yes.
listen to this story. It's warmer out today, but some still may feel that chill from that polar vortex last week. Temperatures reached -50 in the Midwest. But, of course, that did not stop social media influencers and style bloggers from doing interesting things in the cold, of course, to get those likes. Some decided to get dressed in bathing suits and pose outside, right? He's clapping. Experts warned people about staying outside for too long. They say it was so cold you could get frostbite in just 2 minutes. What do you think of this?
Well, this shows the lengths people will go.
For likes.
For likes. I mean, they will do practically anything for likes. And I know a lot of people that constantly post, and they kind of judge about how many people give them a like on
Sure.
there. And I don't know, I think it's a tough way to go through life maybe, but it's entertainment. This is just another form of entertainment,
I mean,
right?
are they crazy? Would you have a section in your magazine of girls and guys doing this out in the cold? I mean, I think at least 21
Probably.
people died in
Probably,
this
we probably would. We've done some crazy fashion shoots in the magazine, so I wouldn't put us past doing something like this. But you're right, we are all about fashion, and we've had some great fashion issues on there, although we haven't done anything quite like that
Well,
in the
I gotta
magazine.
tell you, Keith, so, you know, fashion, you know, it was a background. If I'm not getting paid to do this, there is no way. And
Sure.
you know from doing some shoots, sometimes the weather doesn't always cooperate. Like
Yes.
that day you have to do a swim shoot, it's the coldest day of the year, and you have to be in the water, and you have to act like it's so hot and
Well, we actually
great.
had that. We did a swimsuit thing several years ago, and it turned out to be a day that was really cold.
Always.
The water was cold, but everybody had to act like it's tropical, it's balmy, it's sunny, and it's some tough work at that point. But it's show business.
Exactly.
When the curtain goes up.
Social media isn't, but they got those likes, so I
They
guess.
got the likes, and hopefully everybody's happy.
And hopefully nobody did
Nobody
that
got frostbite
after.
on
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Because
Yeah,
it could be
well,
in some bad places from what we're
it
seeing
would have been
here.
in some dangerous places. All right. Speaking of dangerous places, do you ever feel like your technology is eavesdropping on you? A discovery by an Arizona teen shows this might be true. A teenager named Grant thought it was strange when he could hear his friend in a FaceTime call before he even picked up the phone. His mother filed an official bug report to Apple shortly after the incident, but it wasn't until more than a week later that Apple issued a response. The bug, as well as the company's slow reaction, are both creating some concern. Yeah, you think?
I would think so. This is kind of scary.
It's very scary.
Yes. Well, is with all this technology, I heard somebody define it pretty well. We all love Facebook and Google and all these services. They've gotten to be part of our lives, but they're free. They're free to use. And as somebody said, if they're free, you give up all rights to your privacy. If you're using a free service, then don't expect a lot of privacy.
But that's so scary because, I mean,
It's
I
really
think
scary.
in this case, they were actually hearing what conversations people are having, and they could see through the video. So basically, it's really spying on you.
And what about that Alexa? Somebody was having a conversation and they sent the police because they overheard the Alexa
Right.
conversation.
I don't trust Alexa.
Yeah, Alexa.
Do you have Alexa in your house?
Yes, got one, and got
Alexa's
one in the
banned.
office. I think I was telling you a story this weekend. Kind of frightened me a little bit. I got to go outside and get some exercise in this weekend, and went outside for first walk I've had in a long time.
Right.
And so I come back in, and my foot is hurting a little bit. My heel is hurting, and I said something about my heel is hurting. I go through my Facebook feed, and there's an ad for Dr. Scholl's insole foot pad.
That's so scary. And you did not even Google. Like, you
I didn't
didn't
even Google
search
that.
this, right? You just said this out
I just
loud.
said this out loud. My heel's hurting a little
So
bit.
is Facebook spying on us?
Apparently so.
I'm going to say yes.
I'm
Does
gonna
that
s-
scare you?
It scares the
Well,
heck
and
out of
this
me.
is my question. Who are these people? Are they assigned one person? I mean, do they spy on 10 people a day?
That's the great
Are they
question. Who knows?
watching you?
They record all this stuff in some giant data bank that they keep forever. I mean, who knows?
It's scary.
Yes, it's very scary. So I would be careful about what I say with my cell phone around, with Alexa around.
Which is all the time.
Which is all the time. So who knows what we're going to do?
And you keep Alexa in your house.
And yes, I've got one in my office too. So I guess I want to be careful
You're a
what I say.
brave man.
Yes, I may start shutting it down.
Yeah, I think that might be smart. All right. Well, thank you, Keith. We have a lot more coming up in the show.